Hello everyone, hello everyone, hello everyone. I'm showcasing the 3D shades after watching Black Panther in the cinemas, and yes, you should definitely go and see it. It is epic. There are a lot of things going on in the movie. And let me say, this is not all of what this video is going to be about, but let's just say it was kind of inspired. No, what I'm wearing is inspired by, in a small bit. Anyways, on to the topic. To my future self, this is a video about how you think, your perspectives, and your thoughts. So, what I want to share is the importance of doing personality tests and taking time to understand how you think, how your brain works, and how you process things, your natural tendencies, and yes, that engine that will then organize how you apply your skill sets, what they are, and where they go towards. Okay, so I have some reading to do off of some papers because I was able to do a personality test, and I think in one of my videos I would have alluded that I have done other personality tests. If I didn't, now you know, for university or work or whatever. It's a good way to get, especially if you don't have time to necessarily work on a relationship with a person and you have some kind of deadline that you have to work towards. It's a great way to just get to know how you can bring someone on board. So, Kitch Consulting, and I will put a link in the little description below of the website. If they have any leadership courses or any personality courses or whatever, you can definitely go and check that out. This personality test I did with them, and I'm excited to share some of the results. Now, some people might say, oh, you're sharing a lot about kind of the key components of who you are. And to that I say, generally, I think you should be careful and you should know or feel that you have grown to an extent where you can take your information being public or known by some other people. So generally, I'm not going to advise you to just go and splash yourself across the world. You must know, be prepared for what can happen. But I want to share some of this because if you have been able to release what you do know about how you think and you're not threatened by any blowback from that, I think you should share, because we as human beings need to be kind and need to share our information so that our fellow human beings can learn from it. So this is what I'm doing to my future self. This is how I think, and this is how I have realized my pattern of thinking and growing has been. Okay, on to the good stuff. So this personality test is more than just your average scientific test. It goes on to kind of link to some spiritual qualities. So in my scores, I have manager as one of my positions of note. So I'll share with you what the Kitch Consulting definition of manager and so forth are. So it says, a manager will contribute to decision making by keeping in mind the larger objective. They will ask, why are we doing this? And in the results, a manager is empowered by clear boundaries, expectations, and lines of authority. Autonomy, the chance to pioneer new products, services, or structures. The ability to move on after launching or completing something. And then a manager is empowered by a visionary, or as a visionary, a future-oriented corporate culture. So from that definition and understanding what these managers are empowered by, I definitely can see where I align with that. And perhaps if you look at what is empowering you, there's some areas that you may also find that you align with as a manager. Now, what I thought was interesting is that they provide a section or a group. So that's like a status group of persons. It was actually 1,000 respondents across various states and provinces and countries, and that is their base group. And out of that, 13% were managers. So you can see that a managerial quality or managerial qualities being strong qualities are not necessarily the strongest percentage in a group or your normal test group, which was interpreted to me by meaning sometimes you might not have that many friends. In other words, there may be fewer people who align themselves with exactly what the traits were that I had mentioned. So apart from talking about the good stuff, the empowering stuff, another area that was strong for me was a social entrepreneur. I was like, okay, all right, cool. And I'll read some of the areas where it states that a social entrepreneur can develop themselves. So the managerial, I read like kind of the more positive empowerment bit, and I'll read the areas to be developed in the social entrepreneur's title. And let me read the definition first. So social entrepreneurs are naturally generous people with a knack for both making money and making the most of what they have. They are industrious, hardworking, and often entrepreneurial. I believe in this global society of ours, we all have different ways in which we can be entrepreneurial, and some of us have made that step. To my future self, thank you for maintaining this quality and really trying your hand at many things, all of which I won't mention, but I will say that of that focus group, the normal group, the social entrepreneur real trait is actually at 6%. So understand, if you're very, very strong in this area, you may have even less companions with you. It's just good to know, because when you look around you and realize that there are not that many people that are thinking the way you are, you need to know that it's not necessarily that you're weird, but generally that you are unique and different. When you compare yourself to the norm, not that anything's wrong with you, you just have a different set of skills. You need to get with people who you know are going to appreciate and understand that. And of course, look at the developmental areas, which are, for a social entrepreneur, they give without condition. They have a tendency for allowing work to become unbalanced. They can be unpredictable, and in the case of parents, you can end up spoiling children and grandchildren and not allowing others to give to them, which means this social entrepreneurial trait of yours, like any other trait, should be managed. Now, you could always go over them again to hear those traits again, but understand that not all of these traits are bad. Being a manager, being a social entrepreneur, they're not bad or good in essence. They're just things or traits that need to be recognized and managed, because all of this is what goes on in your head, in your natural actions. They come out and are expressed through the skills that you have, the way you interact with people, the way you live, the way you work. So when you understand these things, you can start to compensate, you can start to develop, you can start to encourage certain of these skills. So I would definitely encourage anyone who does a personality test, don't necessarily take all of the observations as hard fast rules you must now follow, or that you're like damned to a particular situation or damned to a particular way of thinking for the rest of your life. That's not the case. It just gives you the ability to shape a better you because you know where you are, and it will help you plot a better path to where you need to go. So, I'm thankful that I did that. I must encourage my future self. Continue learning more about yourself. You are an extremely, extremely exciting, open-minded, encouraging, loving, brilliant person. And the journey of becoming and continuing to be your best self should always be at your core. And before I end off, I will say that your thoughts and your perspectives will change and you can master them more as you understand more about yourself. That brings me back finally to Wakanda and the Black Panther. There are so many different perspectives, so many different ways you can see all of the different parts of that movie. I would say go watch it. Yeah, definitely go watch it. Especially as someone who I have been interested in history for a while. I can't say that there isn't there is a whole lot of natural history or background and behind it apart from what exists in the comic world, but there's some really good interpretations and perspectives that you should take a look at. So that just reinforces my point and the overall purpose of this video. It is take time out to learn and understand how you think. So important. Yes, and continue that pursuit. All right, bye.